I'm doing today. You look younger, right? That's good one. Got a headache. I need to get 500 or more. Pull off my stomach. Pull. Oh boy. Let's watch this show right here.
Bianca Belair has been continuing her teasers and has an opportunity to do something major. So we'll see what that's about. We'll also see what's new for Finn Balor, Dominic, and more. Starting things off with Bianca Belair and everything that's new and happening in her world, because there's quite a lot. Bianca is still a babyface within this moment in time, but there's just so many different pieces surrounding Bianca that looks like it's painting her in a heel light, but she has yet to actually cross that line. So, what are some of these things that aren't a good look for Bianca Belair at the moment? Well, conveniently enough, as soon as Jade Cargill and Naomi fully engaged with each other and started their feud, Bianca Belair is all of a sudden nowhere to be found on her original brand, that is Friday Night SmackDown. Bianca belongs to SmackDown, but since she won the Chamber and is the #1 contender for the world title, she has thrown Naomi and Jade's issues to the side and is no longer giving them any thought or assistance to their situation. And that's a tough call. You can chuck it up as Bianca just putting herself first. She won the Chamber, so she's just focusing on the opportunity that she earned and forgetting about everything else. Nothing wrong there. Or you could chuck it up to as Bianca Belair becoming a bit selfish and so self-centered that she doesn't care at all what Naomi and Jade do with each other. During their recent social media exchange of words, Jade Cargill did call out Bianca Belair for vanishing from SmackDown when she's needed the most right now for the current situation with Naomi. Jade Cargill posted to Bianca that her sisters should come first, especially since the story is so focused around Naomi doing all this for Bianca Belair. Jade Cargill said it's a sad story how Bianca switched up on her like this. So you even have Jade painting Bianca as a villain, basically calling out Bianca for just worrying about herself and straight up abandoning the situation between Jade and Naomi on SmackDown. We may not know what's going through Bianca's head and what her true intentions are, but what is a solid piece of information that is true is that Bianca Belair has not shown her face on SmackDown in several weeks, and has not even attempted to calm the fire between Jade and Naomi. On top of that, you have Bianca Belair's character continuing to tease the collapse of her mental state. Bianca's trying to juggle everything that's happening to her. In a matter of days, Bianca Belair has had major fallouts with 4 of her closest friends. Jade Cargill, Naomi, Io Sky, and Rhea Ripley, who were all close with Bianca just a few weeks ago. They are all now hating Bianca's guts and can't stand her. So that's got to do something to you mentally to lose 4 friends pretty much all at the same time. Not only is Bianca dealing with the switch-ups of her former friends, but there's been some booze sprinkled in for Bianca during some of her recent editions of Raw. So now she's even dealing with some fans switching up on her. Every single week that Bianca, Io, and Rhea have had a segment together recently, Rhea always appears to get the strongest and loudest reaction. So is that something that's boiling up in Bianca's head as well? Her friends are leaving her. Some fans are leaving her. What is she thinking right now? And what is she going to do next? Bianca Belair continues to tweet that everyone is pushing her to the edge and that she doesn't want to crash out, but how she feels like that's what everyone is forcing her to do. So Bianca has teased the crash out a lot, but will we actually see Bianca crash out soon is the big question. Well, it's looking like the March 31st will present Bianca Belair a big opportunity to do something major. Adam Pearce announced that it will be Io Sky versus Rhea Ripley for the world title on Raw, with the winner once again going to face Bianca Belair at WrestleMania.
6
The added
a.m.
twist to Rhea and Io's rematch is that Bianca Belair will now be the special guest referee, meaning that the outcome of this match and her WrestleMania opponent is quite literally under her control. Bianca claims she has no preference who she will face at WrestleMania, but with the control and power that comes with being a special guest referee and pretty much controlling your destiny.
Don't forget to like and subscribe if you're not subscribed to my channel. You can't help but wonder if
Bianca will try and do something sneaky here as the ref in order to get her real desired opponent. Rhea's theory for several weeks has been that Bianca is avoiding her and doesn't want to face Rhea. Rhea says that Bianca wants to face Io because Bianca thinks she'll have an easier time beating Io than Rhea. So that narrative is already in play here, and you wonder if Bianca may do something as the referee to support Rhea's claim, or maybe prove her wrong and go against it. But judging by how rude and aggressive all 3 women have been with each other in recent weeks, you can almost guarantee that Bianca Belair will get into a dispute with both Rhea and Io in this match, and probably won't call the match right down the middle. Fans are still believing that the WrestleMania 41 plan is still a triple threat between Bianca, Io, and Rhea. So if that's the plan, that means that some type of shenanigan or disqualification has to take place. And then Adam Pearce will have no other choice but to officially declare it as a triple threat match for WrestleMania 41. So whatever happens, it surely won't be a clean finish called by Bianca Belair. So could Bianca's questionable referee calls in this match continue to take her down a path of madness? That's going to be what we'll have to closely observe.
Type of question?
But like we've been saying from the start, it's a match with 3 baby faces. So someone's got to show some type of edge to them. And a lot of fans are looking at Bianca since she has a lot that she's dealing with right now.
People so rude.
Now let's get into another exciting WrestleMania match that does look like it's going to include a major storyline. And this is the Fatal 4-Way match with the Intercontinental title between Finn Balor, Dominic Mysterio, Penta, and Braun Breaker. It'll surely be a great match, but from a storyline perspective, there's one major story that's going to be a real driving force, and that's everything between Finn Balor and Dominic Mysterio absolutely imploding at WrestleMania 41. After crashing Penta and Braun's match and turning this into a Fatal 4-Way, Dominic and Finn are united and happy again. The tension will come back up again to the surface during this WrestleMania match itself, when Dominic goes in for a pin and reveals to Finn that he wants to be the Intercontinental Champion as well. Up until this point, Dominic Mysterio has never put himself first. Dominic has all been about helping others in the Judgment Day get big opportunities and get big matches. So maybe Finn is entering this match feeling confident and assuming that it'll be a handicap match because Dominic will be loyal and do everything he can to make sure Finn wins this match. But what happens when Dominic potentially turns mid-card on Finn Balor? And considering that everything with Dominic and Finn is the main story here of this match, what if the finish of the Fatal 4-Way involves strictly the both of them? What if Dominic Mysterio pins Finn Balor of all people to win the Intercontinental title for himself? Braun Breaker and Penta lose the match, but are technically protected from taking the pin, while Dominic pins Finn Balor for the title and to reveal that this was just a big scheme and plan all along. Dominic was never trying to help Finn Balor win the title. He was just setting up the right opportunity for himself, so that he could become Intercontinental Champion, not Finn Balor. You gotta assume that Dominic pinning Finn Balor for the Intercontinental title in a fatal four-way would be the last straw for when it comes to Finn Balor being in the Judgment Day. Dominic and Liv have matching gold, all while it literally came for the expense of Finn Balor, and this whole elaborate plan that he was not aware of. So we'll see if Dominic can outsmart Finn Balor in that fashion and pull off this Intercontinental title heist. But what are your thoughts on today's stories? Leave your comments below. Don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on, and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys. Roman Reigns has just made his big return to WWE, and a twist has already been introduced. So we'll see what's new there. We'll also see what's new for Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair. Starting things off with a big return for Roman Reigns during the March 10th edition of Raw. It was a spot where a lot of fans expected Roman Reigns to return at, and that's exactly what they delivered. CM Punk and Seth Rollins were taking each other to the absolute limit inside the steel cage. They were hitting each other with infinite finishers, super finishers, stealing each other's finishers, and the both of them kept kicking out everything that was thrown their way. Of course, with this steel cage match, by simply requesting for the door to be open and simply stepping out of the cage, which both men did have the opportunity to do several times. But Punk and Rollins made it clear to each other they did not want that cheap escape victory. They wanted that decisive victory with a legitimate pinfall inside the ring. So that's what both men were focusing on getting. But while the cage door was open, Roman Reigns appeared out of nowhere and grabbed Seth Rollins out of the cage. Roman was not trying to help Seth Rollins win the match, not at all. He would never try to help Seth Rollins ever win a match. But due to the steel cage match rules, Roman pulling Seth out of the cage counts as an escape victory for Seth Rollins over CM Punk. So in the history books, it's going to say that Seth defeated Punk, but in actuality, it was a screwy finish where neither man truly won. So it was a way of protecting Seth and Punk from taking a pin over each other. But Roman continued to absolutely destroy Seth Rollins, and very understandably so. It's payback for what happened at Royal Rumble when Seth Rollins tried to fully put Roman on the shelf with the intention of making Roman miss WrestleMania. So that's why Seth Rollins was the main target of Roman's return. Not only because of the events of Royal Rumble, but Seth Rollins has always been this annoying thorn in Roman's side. So he's going to take Seth out with every opportunity that he gets. Now Roman seemed like he had no intention of attacking CM Punk. There was no serious bad blood between Punk and Roman, the way there is between Roman and Rollins. But what happened to be the breaking point for Roman Reigns was when he looked in the steel cage to see Paul Heyman caring deeply for CM Punk and trying to help Punk back to his feet while speaking to him. Roman's mood instantly changed upon seeing that. Roman entered the ring and proceeded to take out CM Punk. And it appears that the main reason why Roman attacked Punk was out of jealousy of seeing Heyman care deeply for CM Punk. During an ordinary attack on pretty much anybody, Paul Heyman is right at Roman's hip, guiding him and appreciating every small detail of work Roman was putting into the attack. But with March 10th, Paul Heyman couldn't care less about what Roman was doing because he was so focused on CM Punk. So that's why Roman took great offense to that. If Punk wasn't there, Paul Heyman would have been right by Roman's side and standing over Seth Rollins. But because of Punk, Paul Heyman is losing focus and Roman does not appreciate that. Also, can't forget the exact moment that Roman attacks CM Punk is also the exact moment where Punk has now broke his special promise to Paul Heyman. Go back to spring 2024. Paul Heyman revealed that Roman Reigns had made Heyman a special promise that he nor any other Bloodline member would ever put their hands on CM Punk out of respect for Paul Heyman. Because Punk is a very special individual to Paul Heyman. Roman Reigns kept that promise to Paul Heyman from 2023 all the way to March 10th, 2025, where that promise was officially broken and shattered. Roman Reigns laid his hands on CM Punk and brutally laid him out in the center of that steel
is
cage
called
ring,
Platinum
with
Rush.
Paul Heyman just inches away, seeing it happen right in front of him. Outside of a small window of time during that feud with
Platinum
Brock
Rush. That's
Lesnar,
what the
Paul
name of
Heyman has
it.
been
Why you
nothing
ask?
but loyal to Roman Reigns for going on 5 years now. Paul Heyman has done everything he can for Roman Reigns in every which way that he could. Even in 2024, where Roman was completely missing in action and Heyman was feeling the pressure to acknowledge Solo Sikoa as the tribal chief, Paul Heyman still kept his vow to Roman Reigns and stayed loyal through thick and thin. But when it comes
I'm saying,
for
are you
Roman
old
to
enough
prove
to
his
smoke?
loyalty to Paul Heyman and honor that promise not to put his hands on CM Punk, Roman was unable to do that and broke his promise. It's setting up a very intense non-title triple threat match between CM Punk, Seth Rollins, and Roman
used to grow for a
Reigns.
living, so you old
This
enough to
triple
answer
threat
yes.
combines a lot of intense hatred and deep storylines. You got Punk and Rollins' deep hatred for each other. You have Roman and Seth's long history with each other, and now you've got this battle
What state you
Paul
from,
Heyman's
Ashley?
loyalty between Roman and Punk. So a lot of mini narratives all jammed together for this massive triple threat WrestleMania matchup. One
I'm
thing
from
that
New
the
York.
commentators brought up again during this closing moment of Raw was CM Punk's special favor from Paul Heyman. Word on the favor has settled down in recent weeks, but now that Paul Heyman and Roman Reigns are now directly involved with
Oh, you're
CM
not that
Punk's
much older than
WrestleMania
me.
program, the big favor
I'm about to be
payoff should be
32.
taking place within this road to WrestleMania time frame. Another small detail that fans caught onto was a conversation that was apparently being had between Punk and Heyman
Michigan?
inside the steel cage on March 10th.
That's
While
cool.
Roman was taking care of Seth Rollins on the outside of the ring, Heyman and Punk did have a few minutes to whisper something into each other's ears. Now, what did they say to each other still remains a mystery, but one has to assume that
So you're
whatever
almost
Punk
40.
and Heyman said to each
Ashley,
other
correct?
has to be leading up towards the big reveal of the special favor.
In 2
And
years, you
knowing
turn 40?
about Paul Heyman's deep love and care for CM Punk, and now
No, a
Roman
year and a
going
year.
rogue and breaking that promise not to attack Punk, it does make you wonder if
Yeah, I'm
Heyman
32.
leaving Roman's side could be the big endgame twist here. When talking and teasing about the favor, CM Punk did say that it would be something that Paul Heyman probably wouldn't be that comfortable with. The biggest fan theory is that Punk was
32
going to
and
ask
I'm
Heyman to
single.
leave Roman's side and come manage him full-time again, like the old days. That's been the rumor #1 fan theory since day one. And after that moment on March 10th, it does look like that theory is still very much strongly alive. So these three men will meet at WrestleMania 41 in a triple threat match. And the big wild
you'll
card
be
in this
39
entire
December?
scenario still remains
That's
to be
cool.
Punk's favor.
December what? Christmas?
Is it something that will catch Roman and Rollins off guard? And how exactly could it change the tides here? The March 10th edition of Raw also featured a very big moment for the women's world title match at WrestleMania 41.
So you older than me by
Io and Bianca were having a
7
very
years. It's not
civilized
that
and
much.
respectful interview segment to hype up their WrestleMania match. But that's when an irate Rhea Ripley heads down to the ring to confront Bianca Belair. Rhea just completely ignored Io's presence. Rhea got in Bianca's face for cheering for Io and wanting Io to win because Bianca knows she can't beat Rhea Ripley. Rhea claimed that Bianca should have stayed away from Raw last week to go handle that messy situation.
My dad is
friends.
about to be 60, I
Throughout this
believe, in a
entire
couple years.
conversation, Io Sky became a complete afterthought. Io tries budging in, but gets so rudely pushed away in the face by both Rhea and Bianca. Io eventually snaps.
Are you subscribed to
and
my
delivers
channel,
slaps
Ashley?
to the both of them, holding up the title and emphasizing that she's the champion here and refuses to be pushed into the shadows. The segment was short, but perfectly sweet. It's looking like it will be a triple threat at WrestleMania for the women's world title, and it has a great narrative behind it. Rhea and Bianca are both individually great friends with Io and respect her, but this newly found tension and conflict between Rhea and Bianca has them treating Io like an annoying third wheel that's getting in their way of each other.
I didn't know
So
about.
this is a very fun dynamic to play with. Rhea and Bianca have tunnel vision for each other and aren't really paying Io Sky any mind. And Io isn't standing for that. That segment closed out with Io reminding everyone that she's not the challenger here. She's the champion and is demanding respect. That match either goes one of two
I have a
ways.
feeling I
Io
trust you,
Sky
actually,
takes
so that's why I
advantage of
made
Rhea
you
and
this.
Bianca being so focused with each other that she's able to retain her title at WrestleMania and walk out as champion. Or Io Sky is in the match to simply take the pin from Rhea and Bianca, which would leave the door open for potential singles matches between Rhea and Bianca down the line, since they didn't pin each other at WrestleMania 41. That's the main two outcomes for this match, and we'll have to see which direction they go in there. But what are your thoughts on today's stories? Leave your comments below. Don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on, and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.
Thank you, J-Man.
Well, MTA holding a meeting today about the rollout of Omni.
That's the new payment system for the transit agency that will eventually replace MetroCards entirely.
That's right. Fox 5's Arthur Chen takes a closer look at some of the details that are still being worked out.
Omni, meant to be the wave of the future when the MTA introduced us to it 5 years ago, but the contactless fare payment platform has run into major roadblocks. 5 years in, less than half of MTA customers are currently using it. And the categories of MTA customers that can't use it is as long as a subway line, including students, those who use fare discounts, weekly or monthly cards, or pre-tax benefits, or those who use the Fair Fares program. And the MTA is not happy.
We saw consistently that there was confusion on some of these subcategories and a lot of confusion on the railroad.
No more
On Monday,
Metro
the
cards after
MTA formally announced it's
2026.
going in a new direction
After
and
June
demoting their current
2026.
Omni contractor in favor of the team that's developed the popular MTA app, Train Time. Just for reference, Train Time has a 4.9-star rating on the App Store, accolades the MTA doesn't usually get. The MTA will now use Train Time to bring Omni to Metro North and the Long Island Railroad.
The smartest path for customers is to double down on train time.
After years of delays and being behind, transportation watchdogs applaud the MTA's move to demote the contractor Cubic and says LIRR and Metro North riders will have a much easier time getting in and around the city.
So that means that if you're riding the Long Island Railroad or Metro North, you'll be able to use one tap or app to transfer to subways or buses. It'll be more seamless, it'll be easier.
The new timeline has most of Omni's benefits all rolled out by the end of next year. Arthur Chien, Fox 5 News.
And starting today, you can get your hands on limited edition Vampire Weekend Metro cards. You can buy them at the 14th Street, Union Square, and Grand Central 42nd Street stations while supplies last. Today, the
Oh boy. Sorry, guys. Let me see. New student. There's a pandemic.
If you are familiar with the bustling city of New York City, you might have seen multiple greenback cards roaming around in students' hands as a means to balance fares for students that use transportation to go to school by simply tapping the card with no pay 4 times a day. During the start of the 2024-2025 school year, New York City Mayor Eric Adams introduced student Omni cards instead of the Metro cards that have been distributed citywide to students since 1997. The new student Omni cards are valid 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, with up to 4 free rides a day. But what if I told you that the current school year that these Omni cards have been used and abused and even sold online? What has the MTA done to try to prevent from all of this? I'm Jeffrey, by the way, and welcome back to another channel. Here we go. Part 1, the Omni student card. In New York City, students that live more than half a mile now get a free and green Omni card, offering 4 free rides daily, including weekends and the summer break. What's the purpose? to make commuting easier for students. A great way to make education more accessible and affordable. Students that have after-school jobs, take care of siblings while parents work, or other extracurricular activities are more accessible with this card to travel. A major rule, the locations of where the card is used has to be near the school and home addresses. The WYNC News explains it best on the radio.
In the fall, all students who live more than half a mile from their school got a brat green Omni card.
That's what we're calling it now.
It's the color. It's
Okay.
that greenish, trendy green. And it's different than previous Metro cards for students because it's good for 4 rides a day, every day of the week, even weekends and during the summer. Pretty nice capabilities. And of course, something this good has some restrictions. The card is only for the student that was issued the card. And immediately, you may recall after these came out, we saw them pop up online for sale, which is of course not allowed. Those cards were deactivated.
Yeah, and the city has a big interest in preventing people or students or anyone from abusing these cards. The money for the program comes right out of the city coffers. That's our tax dollars. But there's a really good reason for this. There's 1 million plus public school students in the city. The MTA and the city want them to pay the fare like everyone else to get to school. If some of the other programs, when you lose your card, what are kids going to do to get home or get to school? They're going to evade the fare. So there's a balance that they're trying to strike here.
The MTA is also trying to crack down on that culture of fare evasion that we've talked about so many times.
Yeah.
But the question is, how do they track fraud with this? And we got an inside look this week when we got our hands on an email that was sent from the Department of Education to a parent whose kid's card had been flagged for fraud.
Yeah, I really want to hear what happened here. How does an Omni card get flagged and who's monitoring it?
As good as it sounds to have this card for students, there's another side that exploits it. Part 2. Fraud Detection System. The MTA has set up a fraud detection system reporting and flagging cards that aren't being used properly or not being used at all. If the card's location is different from a school or home address, it also gets flagged. You also want to know one of the craziest parts? There's been students that sell these cards for a profit, the lowest being $200 to $1,500 just for this card alone, with students that stockpile and ask for more from their school, deceiving them for new ones. Students get away with it, but other uses have resulted in false fraud flagging. One story, for example, from a parent who received an email from the New York City Department of Education explains how a parent discovered this when using their child's card. The MTA uses location data to monitor where the card is used. The idea to make sure it's only used for its intended purpose, getting the student to school and back home. Part 3. Privacy concerns. This obviously violates a student's privacy and is connected with this tracking of Omni cards. The MTA does explain and insist on only tracking location data and not personal information. However, privacy advocates are worried. So what if a student gets home later and has to take multiple stations to access transportation? What if they have divorced parents and stay at different homes occasionally? And if they have younger siblings, when parents aren't available, how are they going to pick them up? Would the system still flag them for doing something important in their daily lives? These are questions worth asking to understand and learn the policies of the MTA or change them as a result. Additionally, experts like Albert Fox Khan, an expert on surveillance technology, claim that vulnerable students, like those dealing with homelessness or family issues, could be unjustly flagged as fraudsters. This epidemic in this newly founded program has taken a turn for the worse, especially with the number of abused students or people in general who have used these cards with ill intentions. Part 4. Why it matters. Each individual student should have the accessibility to education, regardless of what status or circumstances they are in. This isn't about tracking fraud, it's about fairness. New York City has funded this program, so they should take the responsibility of doing so with authority and protection. The dilemma is between if students' cards get falsely flagged or if their privacy is compromised. So if any of you have an Omni card, what is your take on this? What rules should be changed for our community? Has this tracking gone too far, or is it for good measure to prevent further abuse? Look beyond and think for yourself and all of our youth who are fortunate enough to have access to education and have this card for transportation. Look around at what's happening with the children coming to New York or the United States in general. Families are being deported left and right, not knowing English to begin with, and can't even fend for themselves when they are targeted. In conclusion, this massive problem will only get worse if the NYC DOE or the MTA don't change necessary rules in order to enforce what has been created with this program. This topic hasn't been talked enough, and it may seem like I want people to get caught, but no, it's just an awareness about the potential dangers of using and abusing these cards with ill intention. All students that live far, who have different backgrounds, should have education because it's the next step towards their development. No one should be limited or inaccessible to transportation in such a massive and rapid city where there is no time to stop and wait. With all that being said, what do you guys think about the Omni card and its fraud detection system? Do we need it? Is it unnecessary? Does it violate privacy? Let me know in the comments below.
It's both.
And that being said, thank you guys for watching and listening, and peace out.
Woohoo. Guys, don't forget to like and subscribe, guys. Do you guys smoke? No, y'all don't smoke. Oh, good weed. Guys, please like. I need some likes. Please like and subscribe as well. I said I like you, I do. So thank you guys for joining us. I love you guys. You are the best subscribers. I'm serious. You are. The subscribers on YouTube are the best, and I appreciate it. You know, I'm so happy. You know.
The MTA in total has over 300 bus routes, ferrying passengers in and around the city. These routes vary greatly in length, with some stretching nearly 20 miles, such as the S78, while others span just a couple of miles, like the Manhattan Crosstown routes.
I would live in. It's a house.
Then there's the B39. At approximately 1.8 miles, the B39 claims the title of the city's second shortest bus route, with the B42 taking the lead. The B42 bus serves a clear purpose, transporting passengers from deep within Canarsie to the Rockaway Parkway L train station, which also serves as a bus terminal, allowing for people to transfer to various different lines. The B39 on a map serves a similar purpose, linking Allen Street and the East Village to the Williamsburg bus terminal in Brooklyn. This route connects with over 7 different routes at its eastern terminus. However, one might assume its purpose is solely to connect passengers to other bus lines. Surprisingly, that's not the case. The B39's origins trace back to the old trolley lines traversing the Williamsburg Bridge. It remains operational today primarily to assist individuals with disabilities in crossing the bridge. On the western end of the bridge in Manhattan, you have the Delancey-Essex Street station on the J, F, and M lines. This station has no elevator access, while on the eastern end, you have the Marcy Avenue station, which does. So, if passengers want to cross the bridge and exit at the Delancey Street station, you can transfer to the B39 bus at Marcy Avenue and take it across the bridge. That is, unless you want to wait all the way until Chambers Street for the next accessible station. Other than people with disabilities and those who don't want to use the stairs, the route isn't really useful for a lot of other people. You can really see this when looking at the ridership statistics for it, which shows only 166 riders during weekdays in 2022. Compare this with a more heavily used route like the B6 and its 20,000 daily riders, and you can see the difference. Although the route is scheduled for a brief 5-minute journey between terminals, this can significantly increase due to bridge traffic. When I rode the route for the purpose of this video, it took nearly 20 minutes just to get off the bridge. So obviously, it's not here for quick trips. I suspect that if the Delancey Street Station complex were to ever become accessible, this bus route would be discontinued. Actually, it kinda already was. Back in 2010, the MTA eliminated the route in that year's budget cuts. But the community protested, and they were able to get the transit authority to reinstate the route just 3 years later.
Wow.
Keep an eye out on the future list of accessible stations, though, as that might indicate the time frame for this route's last trip. I know this was a bit of a random video to make, but one day I was just looking at the Brooklyn bus map, wondering what it would be like to ride this route. Eventually, I finally did it and decided to record it. In the comments below, tell me what you think about the B39 bus, and if you would like to see more of these types of videos in the future, consider supporting me by liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and consider becoming a channel member.
Hi everyone. I'm just watching videos, guys.
Right, so Mariah May arrived in AEW in 2023, and safe to say the Glamour's AEW career has been a roller coaster. However, reports are circulating that Mariah May is in a contract year, and this could be her final year in AEW, and Mariah may be leaving AEW. You see what I did there? I might actually make that the title of this video. So yeah, that's the report currently going around, and of course there is fear and speculation from AEW fans that she might leave AEW and go to WWE, like we've seen a fair few instances happen recently in the last few years. So yeah, we're going to talk about all that and all the speculation and rumors and drama surrounding Mariah May and her AEW status, but before we get there, we need to give some context and go to the very start, so like the video and let's do that. Before signing to AEW, Mariah May had wrestled for about 5 years as she got into wrestling in 2018, doing various roles such as ring announcing and other indie wrestling roles that you do when you're just first starting, with Mariah officially making her in-ring debut as a professional wrestler the next year in 2019. And Mariah May would wrestle all across the BritRes and European scenes for the next few years, Progress, RevPro, etc., as she would win belts along the way and gain some good success. And in 2022, after a few years of wrestling exclusively across BritRes and Europe, she would broaden her horizons as she would start working some shows on the American independent scene. As she did a quick tour in America, wrestling matches in Philadelphia, New Jersey, Texas, and more, before returning back to the UK and back to BritRes, which she would continue to wrestle for until the end of the year. And starting in 2023, Mariah May's career would be taken to the next level as Mariah May would go on excursion to Stardom Stardom, which for an unsigned female wrestler is a very big deal to be invited out by Stardom to do an excursion in Japan. It's quite a prestigious thing to be invited out to do, and many wrestlers who have gone and done excursions in Stardom or just Japan in general have came out as some of the biggest wrestlers in the industry, with spoiler alert, Mariah May obviously being one of those cases. Megan Bayne is another good recent example of this, and Mariah May really clicked in Stardom. She really improved her skills in Stardom and became a much better, more well-rounded wrestler as a result of her excursion in Stardom. And it's here on this Stardom excursion where she would form Club Venus alongside Mina Shirakawa and truly made a name for herself, and this tour changed Mariah May's wrestling career for sure, as it took Mariah May's career to the next level and exposed how good she was on a much bigger scale and platform. So much so that by the end of the year, AEW was showing interest in signing Mariah May, and sure enough, after a month or so of rumors and interest, AEW would scoop her up and sign Mariah May to AEW. And in November of that year, Mariah May would debut on AEW TV as an avid Toni Storm superfan, and the rest is sort of history with her AEW run so far. It's actually kind of mad to think it's only been about a year and a half of Mariah May in AEW because just so much has happened. To touch on it briefly, because I'm sure you already know by now, Mariah May was part of Toni Storm's alliance alongside Toni and Luther. She essentially acted as Toni Storm's protege, though she was having her own career in the background and her own little arc as she was rising up the AEW roster. And she was a big part of the women's division alongside Toni Storm, and when she won the Owen Hart Women's Tournament and turned on Toni Storm right after, it was maybe the biggest moment in AEW women's division history. It was probably the longest build-up for any women's storyline in AEW history, and of course this led to that big match at All In for the women's title between the two of them, with Mariah May coming out on top in her home city. A huge moment for Mariah May and a huge moment to win the belt as part of this huge storyline, and Mariah May as champion though wasn't it, I've got to be honest. And that's through no fault of her own. Mariah May had some great matches as champion against Willow Nightingale, against Thunder Rosa. The issue is the booking, because going into those matches there was hardly any storyline, and Mariah May was only ever getting used in backstage promos despite being the champion. It felt like AEW kind of ran out of ideas when the Toni Storm Mariah May feud got put on pause when Mariah May won the championship, but when Toni Storm did return and continued the feud with Mariah May with that whole rookie storyline and amnesia memory loss storyline, things definitely picked up again. This feud reigniting of course led to them facing off in the main event of Grand Slam Australia. This time Toni Storm would pick up the win and win back the AEW Women's World Championship in her home country. And finally, the big rubber match between Toni Storm and Mariah May, the year-and-a-half long storyline, would finally take place at Revolution in a Hollywood ending match, a match that absolutely should have main evented the show and can be argued is the greatest AEW women's match in history. It was great, it was a brawl, a perfect way to end a long-term feud. And of course, Toni Storm would come out on top in this match. I was actually of the opinion that Mariah May should win back the title in this match and be given a proper reign, but lo and behold, Toni Storm would win the Hollywood ending to give a Hollywood ending to this amazing feud that the two of them had. And since Revolution and since her defeat to Toni Storm, Mariah May has not been seen in AEW since. Obviously, it makes sense kayfabe-wise. She was the loser of a very brutal match and a very brutal feud. I think it makes sense for her to have some time away from TV. But just recently, a report came out that has AEW fans a bit scared and a bit anxious, as a report came out that Mariah May is currently in a contract year, meaning this could be her final year in AEW potentially. Basically, her contract is coming up, and so this basically means that there is a good chance we are going to see a bidding war between AEW and WWE for her. And I think some fans are getting deja vu when it comes to this situation with Mariah May here, because some people are instantly jumping the gun and are scared that she's 100% going to go to WWE. And now don't get me wrong, I could absolutely see Mariah May go to WWE, and I think where people are getting deja vu is from Jade Cargill and the way she left AEW. Jade Cargill left AEW AEW after her TBS championship reign, a reign that was quite underwhelming despite the fact it lasted super long. AEW kind of avoided her, putting her up against anyone top in the women's division, and as a result, there's so many matches Jade Cargill never had in AEW, as after she lost the TBS title, she was off TV, and then out of nowhere, it was found out she was going to WWE. And obviously, Mariah May's situation is quite similar here. She's just lost the title after an underwhelming kind of title reign where the booking wasn't very good, and now she's rumored that she could potentially be leaving. It could very much be a Jade Cargill situation 2.0. However, it is also said in the report that AEW will be looking to retain her. Obviously, if I was AEW, just put a blank check in front of her. Mariah May is someone you want to keep in your women's division. You really don't want another Jade Cargill situation here. That would be so bad if 2 years worth of booking is just lost because you didn't give her a good enough contract offer that she deserves. Mariah May is one of the big 6 women in AEW. It's herself, it's Toni Storm, it's Mercedes Moné, Chris Statlander, Willow Nightingale, and I'd say now Megan Bayne as well. Mariah May is a part of that, and they need to retain all 6 of those women to the best of their ability. I think AEW should. But like I said, I could also see WWE making a move for Mariah May and that potentially happening and Mariah May jumping ship, because WWE, I have no doubt, will give her a good contract offer as well. Situations like these with wrestlers like Mariah May, who are big names in the industry and have lots of momentum just fresh off a big angle going into a bidding war, of course WWE in this situation have to go for her. So yeah, I think we could be seeing a bidding war very soon. It is rumored that the contract is coming up in the summer. However, I will say right now, and I don't usually make calls on where I think someone's going to sign, and oh my god, this could get clipped up really badly, but I think personally that she will stay with AEW. She's done too much there in AEW, the Owen Hart stuff, the angle with Toni Storm, the women's title reign, and there is still so much more for her to do. Mariah May is still early on in her wrestling career. There is still a big future ahead for Mariah May, so AEW really need to ensure they can keep her. And Mina Shirakawa, Mariah May's ex-tag team partner, has just announced that she is leaving Stardom to join AEW, which I think is a good sign because it means already there can be a story planted for Mariah May when she does return. I think it would make perfect sense for Mina Shirakawa when she debuts to immediately get into another feud or program with Mariah May, who is welcoming her to AEW or something along those lines. It's just easy booking. But if she does go to WWE, in a way, once again, I can't really blame her because the way her women's title reign was booked just wasn't good booking whatsoever, and it's very similar to that Jade Cargill situation, I feel. I feel like AEW aren't very good in terms of booking wrestlers who they should be trying to retain. People like Ricky Starks, Jade Cargill, maybe if they were booked a little bit better, they might not have wanted to jump ship, just a food for thought. But yeah, it remains to be seen what's going to happen with Mariah May. AEW fans, I know, are panicking, being like, oh my god, she's going to go to WWE, and some are being like, no, she's definitely going to stay in AEW. I think, let's just wait and see what happens. Never say never in wrestling. Let's all stop panicking and just enjoy the bidding war. I think wherever Mariah May goes, she will be an asset, and I think wherever she does go, needs her booking to reflect that. Once again, though, time will tell. We just have to wait and see. Let it play out, brother. But yeah, that's it from me on my thoughts on Mariah May and the entire Mariah May situation going down with AEW right now, and her being in her final year, and the status of Mariah May. Where is she gonna go? Who's she gonna sign for? Like the video if you did enjoy, and comment down below where you would like to see Mariah May end up. Would you like to see her in WWE if you're a WWE fan? And also be sure to comment down below what videos you want to see next, and subscribe with those notifications on so you never miss a video. I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye, and keep on rolling. Right, so the situation with Camille and her mysterious disappearance from AEW just keeps getting weirder, and reports keep on conflicting, and I just don't know what's even going to happen anymore with her. But if you aren't aware of everything that's happened with Camille and AEW thus far and her status with AEW, then allow me to bring you up to speed as you press like on this video.
Me listen to this one.
As you're probably aware right now, WWE is constantly signing people from TNA, and if they're not signing to WWE, then they obviously go to AEW. And then, of course, a lot of people tend to believe, after the news of Gail Kim and some other notable names being fired from the company yesterday, that maybe WWE and TKO will try to acquire TNA. Now, today's news is actually about another signing for WWE, and this one looks like it could very well potentially happen, and this is some really groundbreaking stuff. We're going to talk about that plus so much more right here on the Ango Show. All right, guys, first things first, I want to kick things off with WrestleMania and more specifically Orlando, because the Orlando Sports Commission has officially submitted a request for an $18 million grant from the Tourist Development Tax Funds. Now, this commission is basically trying to bring a notable amount of a variety of TKO events to Orlando, Florida, between UFC and WWE. The bid includes hosting either WWE Survivor Series or Saturday Night's Main Event at the Kia Center in 2026, followed by a UFC pay-per-view in 2027, and in 2028, Orlando seeks to host the WWE Royal Rumble at Camping World Stadium. And however, this is where it gets a little bit crazier. Part of this grant, they are trying to get WrestleMania in 2031 with Camping World Stadium as the venue, and then the Kia Center basically hosting like Raw, SmackDown, NXT, stuff like that. Now, for those who don't know, Jason Segel, who is the president and CEO of the Greater Orlando Sports Commission, revealed that this endeavor comes about nearly 2 years of discussions and strategic planning, and he noted that other sports commissions, such as Indianapolis, have successfully secured similar events. Now, the reason why we're bringing this up is because when TKO formed between the UFC and WWE, I have made it relatively clear in my content that I believe these events will be paid for by the city, but it's not just going to be WWE. TKO is essentially going to try to package up all of their entities into one, and that way they could get paid even more significant money, which, if you guys didn't know, a lot of states, a lot of countries, they pay WWE to bring their events out there. And the premise of that is specifically because of the amount of tourism WWE brings in, which generates a ton of economic growth for the surrounding cities and businesses. So obviously for WWE, it makes a lot of sense with this approach, but also for Orlando, Florida, it also makes a lot of sense because WWE typically does very, very well in that market. Plus, as you can imagine, it's warm weather pretty much all year round. So this guarantees an influx of tourism. It's just a really good idea, and we'll see what actually happens. That brings us to our next topic. Swerve Strickland was on Vlad TV. Now Swerve Strickland goes on social media, and guys, he has dropped his retirement plans. If you guys didn't see anything with Swerve Strickland on Vlad TV, I highly encourage you guys check it out because Swerve really opened up about his WWE exit, issues in NXT, issues with Hit Row, some stuff with Top Dollar being the reason for being released. I mean, he really gets into it. But now what's actually really crazy is he goes on social media, and as you can imagine, there's a lot of buzz coming from this interview. He goes on social media and says, y'all got these next 5 years with me, and then I'm peace. Enjoy the show. Now, obviously, Swerve Strickland is signed to AEW for another 5 years. The belief is that Swerve Strickland has got a contract with AEW that is worth a couple $1 million at the very least. He is being paid handsomely well, and he's basically telling you guys his retirement plans. He's letting you guys know that at the end of this contract, he's done. Now, we'll obviously see how accurate and how true that is, but the reality is with Swerve Strickland being the one to vocalize his retirement plans, I think we got to take him for his word. Now, some people are very upset about this, and a lot of people feel like, hey, you're still young, what are you doing? However, I do think we should praise wrestlers. One, when you realize how incredibly difficult this sport is, right? It takes a toll on your body. And Swerve Strickland is basically admitting to everyone, hey, I don't want to be that guy that turns 50 years old and doing this and having body issues and things like that. You know, I think that there's something okay with that, right? Like, I think that's fine. And then also, I think another point that has to be made here is that I think a lot of wrestlers often they overstay their welcome, right? Swerve Strickland left WWE. He was obviously underutilized, goes to AEW. Initially, while being in the company, he was underutilized, but something clicked and AEW finally pulled the trigger, and they've managed to make Swerve Strickland one of the top guys in the company, which is just a fantastic thing. His work in AEW is incredible. And, you know, when you see a talent like that who basically says, look, I'm going to retire at the top of my game, I think that's respectable. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And I think you just got to look at the talent too. Like Swerve is somebody who, yes, he's very talented in the ring, but he also does music and he does things outside of professional wrestling. So in 5 years, if this is truly his last contract, the good news is Swerve Strickland will be able to make money and have a lot of resources even after this. And obviously that's a good thing, right? Like it's a smart way of planning. And I think this level of transparency coming from Strickland is really cool. So I'm okay with that. I wish him luck. I think he's done a fantastic job in AEW. And I think now would be the perfect time to remind you guys.
Now would be the best time to remind you that we have a major goal to hit 100,000 subscribers. Over 40% of the viewers who watch this channel are not subscribed. Please click subscribe if you enjoy staying educated on everything with wrestling news.
All right, guys. So now that brings us to our final topic. WWE may very well be signing Alex Hammerstone. We know that he's no longer in TNA. WrestleVotes has come out with a new report. He says that WWE is interested in signing Alex Hammerstone. Now, at this point, his contract did expire on March 7th, 2025. And a lot of people have obviously speculated, could he be on his way to WWE or AEW? Obviously, there's some stuff happening on AEW where a lot of people believe it would make sense for him to join with Richard Holiday and MJF. That doesn't appear to be happening. It looks like WWE may very well be signing Alex Hammerstone. There is no 100% confirmation on this. However, WrestleVotes was asked if WWE was interested in this. They are, as well as Kevin Knight, who you guys might remember from TNA or New Japan Pro Wrestling as well. Obviously, this is great news for WWE. If you look at NXT, one of the things that they absolutely need is some more heavy hitters in the main event scene for the men's division. Hammerstone would be a perfect fit in NXT. We've already seen him in NXT. This is one of those situations where it just ultimately makes a lot of sense, and I do look forward to seeing what ends up happening. Obviously, with WWE taking talent from TNA, it hurts TNA, but he has already departed TNA. So we'll see, obviously, what happens there. And as always, obviously, just because he goes to NXT, just because he goes to WWE or wherever it goes, it doesn't guarantee automatic success. But I think Hammerstone will fill a void with NXT, and that's what's really important. They have an issue, they got to solve it, and they probably will. And if you guys want more videos, guys, don't forget, click subscribe, and I'll see you next time.
Yeah, subscribe, like the guy said. Let me see, 9 hours ago. What happened 9 hours ago?
In a new decision issued late last week, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that crimes of violence may be committed through inaction, meaning that moving forward, even if you technically committed no violent actions, you might have still committed violence under the law. Let's go through the details of this case together. Although, before we begin, I will quickly mention that, speaking of crimes, on the back end of this YouTube channel, I can see that 41% of you are not yet subscribed. And I don't know about the technicalities of the law, but to me, that is an act of violence. And so please, like this video so that I can reach ever more people via the YouTube algorithm, and also consider subscribing to the channel. We report a lot of interesting stories that get brushed under the rug of the typical news cycle, and by subscribing, you support the channel, but also you'll get all of our episodes delivered directly into your news feed every time we publish them every single week. Now, getting back to the Supreme Court ruling, let me give you a brief background on this case. Back in 2017, there was a mobster by the name of Salvatore Fat Sal Delegati. He was operating over in Queens, New York as an associate of the Genovese crime family. And specifically, he was helping to run an illegal sports gambling operation. Now, Fat Sal was not the owner of the operation. He was just running it on behalf of a made member of the family. Now, what eventually happened, just like you see in the mob movies, is that Fat Sal found himself in a position where he needed to kill someone. Quote, Fat Sal Delegati had targeted Joseph Bonelli as a local bully who was terrorizing a gas station that Delegati and his associates frequented. The family also suspected that Bonelli was cooperating against the bookies in the neighborhood, which made him a potential threat to the family's gambling operation. Now, this official explanation is obviously vague, but suffice it to say, Fat Sal decided to take out Mr. Joseph Bonelli. But he did not want to get his own hands dirty. And so what Fat Sal did is that he used a third party to hire members of the Crips gang to carry out the contract killing. Fat Sal Delegati, he placed the order, and then he gave the Crips gang members a .38 revolver to get the job done. He basically subcontracted it out, provided the gun, but he did not want to do the killing himself, which is a point that becomes relevant later. Now, the police, they intercepted the gang members before they were able to actually carry out the hit. And then eventually, the feds, they figured out what had happened. They arrested Fat Sal Delgatti in 2017 and indicted him on several charges, including the following: racketeering conspiracy, conspiracy to commit murder in aid of racketeering, attempted murder in aid of racketeering, conspiracy to commit murder for hire, operating an illegal gambling business, and, most relevant to our discussion, possessing a firearm in furtherance of a crime of violence under Section 924C of the Hobbs Act. Now, a federal jury in New York wound up convicting Mr. Delgatti on all counts back in March of 2018, and he was sentenced to 300 months behind bars, which is 25 years in prison. However, Mr. Delgatti appealed that ruling. His argument for the appeal was actually quite interesting. The last charge that he was hit with, the possession of a firearm in furtherance of a crime of violence under the Hobbs Act, it contributed 5 years to his overall sentence. But Delgatti claimed that he did not commit a crime of violence, and therefore that particular statute did not apply to him. Now, for your reference, quote, "The Hobbs Act is a federal statute that prohibits actual or attempted robbery or extortion affecting interstate or foreign commerce, as well as conspiracies to do so." And then going into the specific subsection, Section 924C specifically authorized enhanced punishments for a firearm in connection with a crime of violence. Basically, that particular section, it allows for enhanced punishments if a perpetrator used a gun in connection to a crime of violence. This is what's known as a predicate. Quote, "As predicates on which to base the charge, the government relied on 4 of the other charged offenses. A predicate is an event that takes place before an offense and serves as the basis for a conviction or sentence enhancement." And so, in plain English, it means that the prosecutors used as the predicate the other offenses that Mr. Delgatti was facing, such as racketeering, attempted murder, conspiracy to commit murder for hire, and so on. They claimed that those charges established the crime of violence predicate, and so on top of that, because there was a gun involved, that .38 revolver, they tacked on the last charge, possession of a firearm in furtherance of a crime of violence under Section 924C of the Hobbs Act. And because of that possessed gun, he was given another 5 years in prison. Without that charge, he would have only been given 20 years, but with that charge, it was 25. And so Delgatti appealed that decision. His argument was that none of the other charges qualified as crimes of violence under the law. Quote, "Salvatore Fat Sal Delgatti challenged the 5 years added to his sentence tied to his 2018 conviction of attempted murder and other crimes. Delgatti said he never used the physical force required to meet the definition of a crime of violence. Instead, he said, he hired members of the Crips gang through an intermediary to carry out a killing and gave them a .38 revolver for the crime." Essentially, he was arguing that his conviction for attempted murder did not actually count as a crime of violence because no physical force on his part was used. It's the classical defense of the mob, where the higher-ups don't get their hands dirty, and it's the henchmen who do. Now, his appeal bounced around the legal system for a while before finally landing in front of the U.S. Supreme Court, who just last week ruled against Mr. Delgatti. In a 7-2 split decision, you had Justices Clarence Thomas, John Roberts, Sam Alito, Sonia Sotomayor, Alina Kagan, Brett Kavanaugh, and Amy Coney Barrett reject the mobster's argument. All right, just to pause here for a super quick moment. Listen, it's obvious that the financial system is not looking too great. After being pumped up with trillions of virtually free government dollars for many, many years now, well, the stock bubble might actually burst in the near future. And in that process, unfortunately, it could take away the nest egg of anyone who happens to be exposed to it. And so consider taking this opportunity to diversify into something which is beyond the grasp of Washington, D.C. and Wall Street, physical gold and silver. And the best company to use, in my opinion, is the sponsor of today's episode, American Hartford Gold, who I should mention is also my own personal gold and silver bullion dealer. And besides myself, they have thousands of 5-star reviews from other Americans, and they also have an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. And working with them is rather simple. They have a huge selection of coins, bars, and rounds to choose from. They have super friendly staff who you can call, and they can set up either gold delivery directly to your doorstep, or they can even set you up in a gold IRA. And then lastly, best of all, if you tell them that Roman sent you, they will throw in a free gold coin with your first qualifying purchase. So give them a call. The number is 866-242-2352. That's 866-242-2352. Or you can simply text Roman to 65532. I'll also throw a link to their webpage. It'll be down there in the description box below. Writing for the majority of the court, Justice Clarence Thomas wrote the following, quote, "Whenever someone knowingly causes physical harm, he uses force within the meaning of the law. The knowing or intentional causation of injury or death, whether by act or omission, necessarily involves the use of physical force against another person. Intentional murder is the prototypical crime of violence, and it has long been understood to incorporate liability for both act and omission. When the law was enacted, it was widely accepted that one could commit murder by refusing to perform a legal duty, like feeding one's child. Meaning that, according to the majority opinion of the court, an act of violence can occur even through inaction, which is a fascinating interpretation, which I'm sure the mobsters did not anticipate. However, it's worth mentioning that two justices did not agree with that line of reasoning. To that end, Justice Neil Gorsuch wrote a dissenting opinion to which Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson joined, wherein he gave an example of a lifeguard who sits idly by while watching someone drown in water and writes the following, quote, "Instead of leaping into action, the lifeguard chooses to settle back in his chair, twirl his whistle, and watch the swimmer slip away. The lifeguard is a bad man. In many states, he may be guilty of a serious crime for failing to fulfill his legal duty to help the swimmer. But does the lifeguard's offense also qualify as a crime of violence involving the use of physical force against the person of another? The court thinks so. I do not." Which is, frankly, a good point. Not trying to save someone from drowning as a lifeguard is obviously negligent, but is it an act of physical violence? Well, even though a common understanding of that term would make you think it's not, the majority decision of this court legally makes it so. Moving forward, you no longer have to commit an overt act of violence to meet the definition of a crime of violence under the Hobbs Act. But let me ask you, do you agree with this interpretation? Or do you think that the law should be clear and that violence should mean violence without interpretations like this? Please leave your thoughts in the comment section below. I'd love to know your thoughts. I'll be reading through them later tonight as well as into the week. Yeah.
Oof. Let me see this movie theater that they opening. The allergies.
around.
All right.
Thank you guys. I appreciate it. Let me try to open this package. Do you love me, guys, or no? You don't love me? Do you love me? Do you love me? Do you love me? Do you love me? Want me? Ooh, trying to open this pack. Ooh, it's good. Good boy. Yay. Yo, thank you guys. I appreciate it. Thank you for staying as well. The faster I get subscribers, the faster I can get monetized. Guys, all you guys that are subscribing are helping me getting closer to getting monetized. So thank you very much. I appreciate it. Yeah, also gotta stay here for periods of time because I need the hours as well. So. I want to do this for a living. This is like, right now, this is considered volunteer work. Because I'm not getting paid for it right now. Like, you could donate to the apps that I put there, but most people don't like to donate like that. They'll wait until people get monetized and then. But I understand. I just did one row right now. I'm waiting also for some food. We should get here by 10 a.m. So that's what happens. My birthday's on April 7th. It's a week from Monday. Oh boy. What time is it? Oh, it's only 7. I gotta get some water. boy. Do y'all guys smoke? You guys smoke weed? Let me go get some water. I'll be back in a second. Weed is the best. Also, my migraines and my back pain, so that's the only reason I do it. Go get a cup of water. Be back. My bad, guys. Sorry. I'm back. Y'all guys can ask me anything. As long as it's appropriate, I'll answer it. As well, so. I got a headache. Bad headache, too. Thank you guys for supporting me. I appreciate you, subscribers. I want to do a competition when I'm monetized. The winner will get a trophy. Basically, whoever donates from the day I get monetized a year after, you will win YouTube Donor of the Year. I'll get it made somehow. Always custom made a trophy, I bet. J-Man, are you still here or are you gone? I think that's the longest I've ever been live. Whew. If you guys smoke weed, what strain do you like? You like sativa, indica, hybrid? Just let me know what you prefer. I think this is the longest I've gone live. Guys, thank you for the support. I appreciate it. Even though I don't get financial support right now, your time and your subscription matters right now. So make sure if you're not subscribed to like and subscribe. Because right now your time and you being here matters to me right now. So I appreciate it, guys. We are on my road to 500 subscribers. You think I can get it done? I don't know. I do not know. Like, I'm nervous. I'm surprised that, to be honest, I'm surprised I've gotten this far. I'm so lucky I've gotten this far, and I'm thankful because of you guys. Like, so, guys, thank you. I'm about to cry. This is you guys. You are the best subscribers I've ever had. I'm surprised that this time of year I'm at 403 subscribers. I'm just surprised. I think I've worked very hard. And I'm thankful, guys. Thank you. So, thank you for being here, guys. I'm not tired, just high, guys. Gotta smoke a cannabis. I'm waiting for my food to get here. It's supposed to be here by 8 or by 10, I think. It's 50 degrees, wow. Thank you guys for being here. Shocked that I got this far. I think I worked very hard for this. I hope by this time next year I have over 1,000 subscribers. Please and thank you, 'cause that's the magic word. 'Cause of please and thank you, 'cause those are the magic words. Please and thank you is the magic word. Please subscribe to my channel. Please subscribe to this channel, my channel. Please subscribe to this channel. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed, that the twilight lies gleaming through the stripes and bright stars, through the perilous fight. Oh, the rampart we watched was so gladly streaming, and the rockets bang glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say the star-spangled banner and wave, and the land of the free, and the home of the brave. Yay.
Hi, Casey. How are you? What's new?
Not much. I'm just trying to get through this week because I am going on a trip next week.
Nice. Where are you going?
We're going to France, Iceland, and Denmark.
Oh my God, I'm so jealous.
Super excited.
Wow. Are you going 2 weeks or what?
Yeah, it's like a 10-day trip. So
That's so great.
my mom got on this kick where she's like, I've never traveled and I'm gonna die. And I'm like, you're not even 16.
Have you considered or looked into like tour guides or anything?
Yeah, so we have a 2-day tour booked in Iceland.
No. Oh, so you got to look at Rick Steves. Do you know who that is? Okay. Rick Steves is a guy that's got a show on PBS, and it's so great because this guy has a travel book and he tells you if you have a certain number of days and you're going to a certain number of location, he'll tell you what to do,
I love that.
where to go. He'll tell you how to get tickets in advance.
I definitely need to look into that because I was their travel agent.
But here's even the better thing is like, I'll give you an example. When I went to Rome with my wife on our honeymoon, he has a guidebook. And he also has on iTunes podcasts and virtual tour guides that you download to your phone. So when you go to like the Sistine Chapel, you walk in and you turn it on and you go, okay, he'll go, okay, walk 5 paces, look up. And this is a fresco that was painted by Michelangelo. And this was the date. And this was the thinking at the time.
Going through like their little thing.
It's so great.
Probably way better.
And dude, I'll give you another example. Like when you go in Venice, they have the Grand Canal where you get on one Vaporetto. You go through the entire thing. Like you turn on one of the virtual tours and he'll go, okay, so as soon as you get on the boat and the boat starts moving in 2 minutes, press play. So you press play. All right, the boat's moving. Look to your right. There's the Guggenheim Museum. This is what was done there. So look into it. Rick Steves.
Rick Steves. Okay.
He's got it for all over the world. It's great.
Yeah, I'm gonna download that.
When we go anywhere, which is not lately, because we take Rick Steves with us everywhere. It's like a Bible.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's good to know. I've
Take a look.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate the recommendation.
Because when you go and when you know what you're looking at, it's just so much more memorable.
Oh yeah,
You know?
no, I like to know because usually I Pinterest everything and I'm like, okay, we're gonna go see this thing. And my parents are like, cool, it's another building.
When I did it, it was free. I don't know if it is now.
I'm sure it's not too expensive.
No, it's anyways, who are you here on?
Terrence Bruget.
Okay. Okay, it's getting up there.
So we have a motion to withdraw on your queue on it for lack of payment. He is here today though.
Come up, Terrence. It's old though, man. You know?
I understand.
They gotta get paid.
There's nothing worse than when your lawyer is upset. You know? Do you work? What do you do for a living? So you don't work for free, do you? You don't work free, do you?
I don't work for free. But I did.
So I don't want you, it's a rhetorical question. The thing is that your case is old and it's now where it's either put up or shut up and we're ready to go to trial. You know, your case is 140 days. In 40 days, this is when we set the case for trial. It's time to figure out what we're going to do. You know, I'd like you to get together with them to see what you can do to try to mend the relationship, but it's old and it's time to figure out what to do. You know? Can you try to see if there's something worth salvaging and
He's
mending?
communicated with our office, but there's still a large chunk that he owes. I mean, he can't guarantee us when he'll ever be able to get it to us. So that's just kind of where we're at this point.
So can I talk next week? Okay, I did discuss with the representative in charge of the payment, but
Our office manager.
The office manager. Honestly, I was supposed to pay before the end of December, but I did get sick I did have some things going on, so I would like them to reconsider.
But you still work full time. Do you earn a salary?
When I did get sick, it did affect my paychecks, for like a month. So I get paid every 2 weeks. I don't make go driving, so if I don't drive,
salaried employee,
I get paid per hour. I don't get a salary. Salary is 6 per month. I don't get.
And what do you do for a living?
I'm a driver.
Medical driver.
Yes.
Okay. And how much money do you make an hour?
An hour is $15 an hour.
Yeah, I mean,
but it's not like that. I did get sick, so I haven't been working for some time. I was in pain. I couldn't even move. I went to ER.
So when is the last time you worked?
I did get back on my feet
So you're telling me you haven't worked at all? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Yes, they're recovered for quite a week, and it did affect my paycheck. So I haven't been able to make the payments that I was making. But I did make a payments I think yesterday. I didn't even make a payment, so I need more time in order to make more payments, to the people that they will consider.
We're at the stage where it's time to set your case for trial or end it somehow. We're not at the stage where we're going to push your case another 6 months no. It's time to work these things out. I mean, there's no way to...
I mean, that's up to your discretion. I can let the office know if you don't want to sign our motion, and then we'll continue to work on the case. But
if your honor, you can give me more time, I'll get back to the point that they'll be able to consider for the.
How much time are you talking? Say it again.
If I can have a month or 2 months or 4 payments.
So let me see. I'll have you fill out an application, but I don't know if you're going to qualify for an appointed lawyer. You need a lawyer to represent you. And I'm going to tell you now, even if I let them withdraw, whoever you hire, you're going to be in an extremely fast track getting ready for trial because your case is 140 days. And like I told you, at 180, we set that for trial. I need to know everything about you, how much money you make an hour. I need to know how much money you have in the bank, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, what kind of cars you drive, everything about you to see whether you qualify. If you don't qualify, you're going to have to go hire someone else. And then you're going to spend a bunch of money elsewhere.
So let me ask you a question. How long can I have in order to be back on track for the payments?
I don't know. That's something that you need to negotiate with them to see what they're willing to take. But I'm going to tell you now, if you don't qualify for a lawyer, all the money that's been already spent, it's just,
But she is on a PTI track, and at this point, he's also going to have to spend the money on the fees and stuff for PTI.
So I take this seriously. I don't give out lawyers like it's candy on Halloween. You truly have to qualify because when we give out court-appointed lawyers, it's I pay for it, they pay for it, they pay for it, we all pay for it. And I take it seriously, and it's not fair to just hand them out. You have to qualify. I'm following the law. So if you want, how do I pronounce your last name? Okay. If you'd like, I can have you fill out an application to see whether you qualify. But if you don't, like I said, it is what it is.
You may have at least a month to be able to get the balance, please.
Of course.
A month.
Yeah. Oh, no. We're not going to sit this where you're going to come back in a month. Nothing's happened. I'm not going to play this game. We need to decide today what's going to happen. Because in a month, now we're at 109. So let's do this. If you want, I can give you an application to fill out. I can wait to see whether I'm going to grant or deny your motion. In the interim, if you want to try to negotiate something, I don't know. But like I said, I take giving court-appointed lawyers seriously. I don't hand them out like candy because the public pays for it. And it's not fair for them to pay for something when you can afford it. You just don't want to pay. I don't know how much money you have in the bank. I've never met you, sir. I don't know who you are. I don't know what kind of car you drive. I don't know if you drive a Shelby Cobra. So let's do that. I'll have you fill out an application. If you want to try to talk to them to mend the relationship, perhaps that can work. If not, I'll wait to get your application and we'll go from there.
Yes, I want to talk to them. I want to try to I want to try to have a deal with them, please.
With what?
I'm trying to see what kind of deal I can have with them for payment plans.
So you can go call the office again, but they've already told you no.
Yes,
So just, you have to understand that relationships are built on trust, right? And if you're not forthcoming with the side and you put them off and you put them off and you say you're going to do this and you say you're going to do that, and then you go back on your word repeatedly, that goes a long way, you know? So well, I'll have you step back. You tell me what you want to do. I'll give you a couple minutes. I don't want you to make a decision here. Take a step back. You guys just let me know what you want to do. All right. Thanks.
Thank you.
For sure. And thank you for Casey.
Yeah, no worries.
Of course. How are you, man? Tell me about your guy.
So I spoke with him. We've been trying to work things out with him.
Get it?
Financial things like that. I think just based on the amount of time we've already given him, asking for the offer.
Has he filled out the application?
Yeah, he did. We went ahead and got it done. And I spoke with him a little bit to understand what's going on. And if he is able to work something out, he says he'll follow up with us down the road, but he understands for now.
Come up. Come up. Yes. Are you married?
No. You know your owner.
Who do you live with anyone?
I live with my girlfriend.
Okay. How much money does your girlfriend make a month? Do you need to, this is all the stuff you've left a lot of stuff blank. You need to fill this out. I'll grant your motion, okay? But you're not done with this. You need to fill this out correctly. You've not filled it out. So I'll give it back to you to fill out.
I don't really know how much is close to $1,500 a month. You know, that's what she's making.
I'll give it back to you to fill out, but we need you to, complete it, okay? I'll grant your motion.
Yes, sir.
All right, come on.
So essentially,
Hey. Hi.
I'm back again. Last name is VEUGRE. It's like a DWI. Looks like I don't know kind of what happened. It seems like.
So they withdrew because didn't pay. And it looked like that they were gonna do the PTI route.
Okay.
It's 140 now, so we can give you, I guess, a short reset just to look for you, see what you guys want to do, and then come back.
PTI offer is
Or not approved.
Nathan approved.
Yes, it is approved, yes. Okay, so basically it just needs an application and then the
The
TRS.
contract was already sent out today, if I'm not mistaken. So
What, they're that far in the process?
The contract was sent today, Judge.
GAP and Miro.
Okay, so he's done the TRS? Obviously, right? Because there's something, all right, come up. I didn't realize they were that in the home stretch. Okay, so here's the deal. You're basically in the home stretch of this thing anyways to enter the diversion program. Elena's gonna get the contract. She's gonna need to go over it with you. You will need to do two more remaining things. You will need to get the interlock. You will have to pay the district attorney fee. Once you do that, you will be in the program. So it's at 140 days now. I guess we can give you, 30 days for you to get it done.
Okay. I would be out until the first week in February. Would that be okay when you say it's in February?
You're really gonna be on all of January?
Yes. I'm coming back the last week of January, the first 2 days, but then I'm taking a COE the last part of January. So you can try to get it in, if it's just a VAP.
Yeah, it's just,
You can get that in, I guess, before the end of the year, that would be great.
yeah. How soon will it take you to pay there's a $300 fee and you have to get the interlock. How long do you think it'll take for you to do that?
You said 300?
Uh-huh.
I can pay
Once you pay that, get proof, and do you have the interlock in your car now? Okay, you need to do both of those things to enter into the program.
The program?
The sooner you do it, the better, because she's leaving all of January, I guess.
The alternative, I don't know if there's no driving affidavit if he doesn't have. I guess we need to look at the license suspension and I'll take a look at that.
Can you
Yeah,
run us?
I have an ELR and my driver's license is not suspended.
Okay.
What are you saying?
Driver's license is not suspended,
Okay,
so
so
he would have to get the
And
interlock.
Your Honor, I have an email saying that he was approved for a portable due to him operating a work company vehicle. So I believe a portable is what has been offered by Brenda, is what she said in an email.
Got it. Okay, so let's do this. Do you think you can pay the DA fee and get the interlock done within the next 2 weeks?
Next week?
2 weeks.
I'm sure about the fee, but for the interlock, I don't know how much I'm supposed to pay for.
Miss Elena can get with you to let you know how to do that. All of that is in the contract.
Have information with them, all the various vendors, and they can tell you how to get that stuff.
Right. So why don't we do this? Why don't we set it, I guess maybe like, you wanna do that?
I don't have a problem with what that is.
Okay, so we'll set you off for the 30th, okay? You're gonna need to get together with Miss Elena quick so that you guys can be on the same page. The most difficult thing will be for you to get the interlock, but you need to make the appointment as soon as possible because they're really busy. Don't wait till the day before court. Call today, tomorrow, or the next day to make the appointment. When you get that, pay also the DA fee, and then you're in the program, okay? The idea is to do that before she goes because she's gonna be gone for a long time, and it makes no sense for you to wait all that time when you can be working toward the goal, okay? All right. Thanks. Good luck.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Elena. I have done everything in my power to try to keep you out of custody. You have 2 open DWIs. I was now going to grant the fact that you had negotiated an intensive outpatient treatment. You now are testing positive for alcohol and marijuana while you're on bond for this case. And I have told you repeatedly that you are at no tolerance, Mr. Jones.
I don't do drugs. Period and point blank.
I have here.
Don't say anything. Can I get a copy of the bond violations before we discuss it?
Is it impending?
It's ready for judge.
I don't know why it's not.
March 13th, the results were confirmed by the lab for alcohol and THC. Oh, wait. Joshua Dante Jones. Right? Joshua Dante Jones? This has got, I don't know, something's wrong here.
I'm not understanding. I'm not saying.
Something's wrong. We need to put pretrial services on probation, man.
I'm not sure.
I mean, it says here, Mr. Jones.
I don't see it in ready for judge.
No, it's wrong. It's wrong. Let me see it. It's wrong. Let me see. Yeah, it's wrong.
Okay.
It's a Joshua Dante.
Okay.
It's the exact same.
He's frustrated.
You're good.
So we're good.
Hey,
It wasn't you. We're good.
that's not you.
Let's go talk again.
Sorry to scare you.
Let's go talk.
He's good. I want to apologize for getting mad at you. I had the wrong person, so it wasn't you. So I'm sorry for raising my voice and getting upset with you. And the reason I got so upset was because you have 2 open DWIs. It's serious business. It's not and so
if I see someone that has those kind of cases that are open and then they start having more violations, that really tells me that there's a problem, which is not your case. I mean, I haven't seen any violations, which I'm hoping it stays that way. You know, the idea is that you learn something when you get here, so you leave better than you came, you know, because the last thing we want is for you to become a statistic. We have enough of that. We don't want any more. We don't want any more death on our streets. That's exactly what we're trying to prevent. And everything we do now here is to help you and give you the tools to make you better when you go out in the world, so that you think next time, you know, if you do want to get lit, right? If you want to have 32 shots of tequila, 52 joints or whatever it may be, right? That you think before getting into a car. Because God forbid, it's that one mistake that you dig such a hole you never crawl out of. That's the idea, you know? You've worked a great deal here, really, where they're going to dismiss one of your DWIs, you're pleading to the other one. Nevertheless, when an officer pulls you over, the first thing they do, what do you think they do? They look at your record because they want to know who they're dealing with. If they look at your record and they go up to you in the car and they smell alcohol or dope, it's probably not going to go well. So the idea is, if you're going to get lit, if you're going to have that, be like that, take an Uber. Do you understand?
Uber cheaper than your freedom.
The agreement that you worked out is, like I said, they're going to dismiss one of the DWIs. You're pleading guilty to one of the DWIs, so it will go on your record. You are now entering into an agreement, a plea bargain with the state. The agreement is 180 days in jail to be probated for 15 months. As part of the agreement, you will do a DWI education class, 2 victim impact panels. You will do a TRAS with conditions. You have already done the TRAS. The TRAS has recommended intensive outpatient treatment, followed by supportive outpatient treatment, which is good. I'm telling you, I thought they were going to order you to do inpatient treatment. That's what I thought they were going to do. So this is great for you because you're not going into lockup. But understand, it's not easy. You have to get it done. If you don't, do you understand?
You get locked up.
No drugs, no alcohol, no breath test refusal. So if you're pulled over in a car, an officer asks you to submit a breath test, you must do it. Guardian interlock, a $100 one-time donation to Mothers Against Drunk Driving, and 25 hours of community service. I will make you a deal. Your license is now suspended. I had them look it up to see whether you can drive or not. You can't drive now because your license is suspended. It's suspended until 2026 as to what the state saw and looked up. If you get your license back, I will waive that community service for you. I would rather you spend the time to try to get your license back and get liability insurance, car insurance. If you do, I'll take off the 25 hours of community service. You understand? If you fail this agreement, I will issue a warrant for your arrest. I'm going to bring you back out. We're going to have a talk about whether you violated this probation. If you do, you're looking at 180 days in jail. You understand? The worst possible thing you can do is just take off. If you do, that's an instant warrant. The other worst possible thing, if you pick up another DWI. If you do, I'm just going to lose even more hair. Don't. Really. If you ever have a problem, come back, talk to us. We can always work it out. There's never nothing that we can't work out. Anything can be worked out. You're giving up the right to a trial, right to compel witnesses to testify on your behalf, cross-examine your accusers. If you're not a citizen, there are possible immigration consequences. You can be deported, excluded from the country, denied naturalization under federal law. You give up the right to appeal. So once you plead guilty to this offense, it will go on your record. You can never take it off. Is this what you want to do? How do you plead to the offense of driving while intoxicated? Yes. I'm going to find you guilty. I'm going to follow the agreement. I'm not going to suspend your license. It's already suspended because of the ALR hearing. So don't just start driving until you get it back. Because you don't have a license, we're going to order you to get a portable device. I've been paying for it now while you're on bond for this case. I can't pay for it any further. Reduce his fees, please. The other thing that you need to understand is DWI is big business. There is a $3,000 surcharge that one normally tack onto this. I'm going to take it off now. But from now on, You ever pick up another DWI, that's a second. From now on, it's a minimum of 30 days in jail and a $6,000 surcharge on a second DWI. Do you understand? All right, good luck, sir. Thanks, Jimmy.
That's the,
You can wait now.
Let's roll, nerds. Oh yeah, let's roll, nerds. Yeah, let's roll.
Let's roll, nerds. The way that you've acted to me, the way that you've threatened the staff, the way that you've threatened my coordinator on the phone, I don't know what the issue is, but I think that, you know, you're calling it not being very nice to my staff.
No, me and her had a good conversation. I mean, the lady, she said she was even going to try to help me. She didn't want to let me come today. That's how I got that information.
You weren't supposed to be here today. We gave you a date of December 16th.
Yeah, but when I called and I explained to her that I won't be here, I won't have nowhere to stay while I'm here, and I told her she could bring my information, my documents that I had to prove that I had eviction and I was going back home to my mom. So how can I be here on December 16th if I'm leaving on the 15th?
You've got this case open, right? So you can't just move and leave without taking care of this first, you know?
I know, but that was already arranged. That's why I called and did due diligence to say, hey, how do I go about this process?
Okay, so you need a lawyer, right? We spoke about that last time.
That's why I brought everything to show that I have an eviction. How can I pay for a lawyer? I don't even have the money for one. And
If I remember last time you came here, you said you have your own business. You've got
because I have a business that
four
doesn't make
trucks.
money. Yeah, I did, but I'm here because the guy who I'm here for ruined that truck, totaled the truck, and I don't have it. I never got it back. That's why I'm here. My livelihood was ruined by the guy that I'm here for.
And now charged with terroristic threat.
That's fine.
You've been filed on for this case.
I just can't respectfully see how can I go about the process that a person, when I called, a rep told me to this. So I came here to respectfully go about the process the right way so I don't miss work. Paper says if you can't make it to do your due diligence, so I'm doing my due diligence and I'm not getting the, I guess, response or help. I don't know.
Okay, so you work now currently, right?
My livelihood, no. My livelihood, my work was my truck. It is ruined. It is gone. I have no work. The guy I was here for that worked with me crashed and totaled my truck, which means my work, my only livelihood, my business is ruined.
What were you doing before?
I had my business for 6 years.
Doing what?
Running a commercial fleet service, 26-foot box trucks.
Okay, and how much money were you making a month?
Monthly, after pay, I would say maybe 8,000. And that's including paying for the truck insurance and rent.
Okay, so how much money do you make right now a month?
I haven't made money since he crashed my truck, which was what, September 28th or something like that?
So you tell me you've been out of work since September,
I have been getting help
now in
from-
November?
I don't have work. I had a business.
How do you support yourself now?
Family is helping me, which is why I say I'm going back home to my mother who's helping me.
Okay,
I worked
so-
very hard in my life. I'm not a dummy. I have degrees. I worked very hard in my life. I worked for American Red Cross. I also have a Phlebota, Mississippi. I also have a real estate license. I'm not dumb, stupid, or slow. You're not talking to the one who's sitting here in front of you claiming something. I've worked hard in my life. With the American Red Cross for 12 years. Not dumb, stupid, or slow. I opened a business. I started a business, and a man ruined my business. And I'm here for free. Yes, I did. If you call it a terrorist there, call it what you want. Someone ruined my livelihood that I worked very hard for would not return it. I don't have the keys to my livelihood. $72,000 truck, but it belongs to one that I still have to pay for. I don't have it.
I can give you an application for an appointed lawyer. We need you to fill it out. Don't just put zeros. I need to know everything about you, how much money you have at the bank, how many cars you have, house, mutual funds, stocks, bonds, IRAs. Just fill it out and I'll take a look if you qualify. And if you qualify.
Again, if I'm not going to be here, I have an eviction. I don't know what more you need to see if you need me to miss court because I'm not going to be here or be sleeping on the street. I don't know if that's what you want from me. That's not how I live my life. I don't know if you want me here living on the street. We get to court December 16th, but again, if I have an eviction that I brought to you from a community complex, a legal document, where do you want me to take it to December 16th?
You can't just take off.
I did not say that. That's why I am here to ask you the correct procedure. That's why I am here. I came here to ask you to do my due diligence, so I don't just take off. I could have a million people just take off. I'm doing my due diligence and I'm just not getting the proper, I guess, response.
I don't appreciate your passive aggressive.
I'm just trying to do my due diligence and you're just saying, I don't know.
I know that you're touting the due diligence word, and I've told you also repeatedly that you need a lawyer to represent you. The lawyer can give you guidance. I cannot. I can't give you legal advice. I cannot give you guidance. I can only tell you that you need a lawyer, what you're charged with, what you're facing, the bond conditions that you have. At this point in the game, it's lawyer. You need a lawyer. I've told you that you need to go hire one. You're telling me that you don't have money, that you've not worked since September. So the next stage is I give you an application to fill out. And I'm going to give you an application to fill out, but don't give it to me with all zeros because I'm going to send it back to you. Just fill it out honestly, fill it out thoroughly, and I'll take a look whether you qualify. And if you do,